New information just in on a big developing story tonight. Mud and debris covering I-40 and shutting down the interstate near the Tennessee border. Now, Tennessee DOT is saying as soon as an investigation is complete, they will have a reopening timeline. So thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Patrick Hushin.
And I'm Holly Hedrick. Around 6 o'clock tonight, we started getting calls into the newsroom and seeing posts just like these on X showing the images of that slide. Tennessee DOT officials say all stuck traffic has been removed from the area. Take a look at that. Crews are working to clear the water and the mud off the interstate. However, the water still has not receded. The National Park Service wants to remind drivers that Newfound Gap Road only has 2 lanes, and it is not safe for large commercial vehicles.
So here's some important details here. The Tennessee DOT posting motorists wanting to access North Carolina should take I-81 north to I-26 east.
Heavy rain took its toll on Wednesday, and now I-40 West remains closed in both directions near the Tennessee-North Carolina state line. It's at mile marker 450 in Cocke County. It comes after flooding from a rockslide closed the interstate in both directions on Wednesday. This afternoon, DOT engineers are on the scene to decide on the next steps. News 13's Rex Hodge is live along the interstate there in Haywood County. And Rex, this is creating some major detours for travelers.
Yes, heading on 40 West, traffic can only get here to exit 20 in Haywood County. That's the Highway 276 exit that takes you into Maggie Valley. From this point, all traffic is going to have to turn around, get back onto 40 East, go down to Asheville, get onto Interstate 26, over to Johnson City, where you pick up Interstate 81 South that takes you back down to I-40 in the vicinity of places like Dollywood and Knoxville, if those are your destinations. This, of course, comes as summer travel is just beginning, so expect more traffic heading through Asheville. This slide enclosure also comes just 4 months after 40 reopened 1 lane in each direction after Helene damage and repair work. Yesterday's slide happened in that Helene damaged area on the Tennessee side, less than a mile from the North Carolina line. Now, Tennessee DOT says as of today, mud and water remain in that area. A time frame for reopening 40 will be established once investigations are finished.
TDOT crews are on site assessing not only the roadway and the ramps, but the nearby slope. And until those assessments are complete, we won't be able to have a timeline for when the interstate could possibly reopen in this area.
And Tennessee traffic heading to North Carolina must exit at Hartford Road. Again, the major detour is 81 north to I-26 east into Asheville. No injury, excuse me. The major detour is taking 40 down to Asheville, 26 over to Johnson City, and then 81 picking up 40. No injuries have been reported due to the slide. Vehicles caught up in the slide either have been moved out or to the shoulders. Just a quick update on that from Tennessee DOT. They say there are a couple tractor trailers still down there waiting for the mud and the water and debris to be removed. Now, of course, this is very untimely with summer tourism beginning. We'll have much more on that coming up in live reports at 5 and 6. For now, reporting live from Haywood County, Rex Hodge, News 13.
Travel headaches across western North Carolina as a slide continues to keep I-40 closed in Haywood County and into East Tennessee. Crews spent today digging out the mud and assessing the damage. This is video from the Tennessee DOT. Now, water is still rushing down the mountainside right onto the road in that slide area.
All of the traffic would normally take 40 through the Pigeon River Gorge is once again bottlenecking in Asheville, which is exactly what it did when Helene left behind major damage to the interstate. Long lines of traffic continue to inch toward the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge. That is the detour route up to Johnson City, Tennessee. The station's Hunter Subaru Skycam View 13 drone flew over the traffic earlier this afternoon.
This afternoon, Tennessee transportation officials gave an update on the situation and how long the interstate could remain closed.
Can tell you at this point that what we feel like is we have a goal of getting the interstate reopened in the next 2 weeks. However, we have a significant amount of work to do down here at the interchange at 451. We think that's going to take a little bit longer, but we'll be able to give you more information on that as it becomes available.
And the National Weather Service told Tennessee DOT that 2.5 to 3.5 inches of rain fell in a short amount of time on Wednesday. That created 4 slides, including the largest one on the interstate. Contractors who are doing Helene repairs also helped getting people to safety and are now helping with the repairs from that slide. Authorities say no injuries are reported, despite one home being flooded and a number of vehicles becoming trapped in the mud on the interstate. Repairs could cost $500,000.
We have team coverage of the impacts with News 13's Rex Hodge in Haywood County.
And Ed DiOrio is in Asheville, but we began with Rex. Rex, this is forcing drivers to make an adjustment.
Yes, absolutely. If they are heading from Asheville on Interstate 40 West trying to get to Tennessee, they can only make it out here to exit 20 in Haywood County. That's where we're going to run into some troopers and some signage, and they're going to be turned around and headed back down to places. What they're going to have to do if they want to get to places like Dollywood or Knoxville, they'll have to head back to Asheville, take I-26 over to Johnson City, and then Interstate 81 South back down to Interstate 40. Tennessee DOT says it will take at least 2 weeks for water to recede, for repairs and cleanup to be completed. The NC Highway Patrol says local traffic will be allowed to get to their homes in Fines Creek, White Oak, and Harmon-Den.
It could be a little while. So that's what we're trying to tell residents that live down there, prepare for a little while, maybe, having to go through the checkpoint to get down there.
Tennessee DOT says the closure is in the same area damaged by Helene, but is not as extensive. They're using drones to assess the area. And back out here live, of course, is the very important summer travel season. Tourism, a big deal for Haywood County. So the leaders here are reminding folks that there are many roads that are open to get here. Very important to get that revenue coming in here after Helene and so forth. For the latest information, you're urged to call 511, or you can go to drivenc.gov for the latest information. Reporting live tonight from Haywood County, Rex Hodge, News 13.
As we said off the top, traffic backups are hitting I-240 and future I-26 through Asheville, which is the detour route.
This is a live look at the traffic on the Captain Jeff Bowen Bridge from the Hotel Indigo camera. As we said, that is the bottleneck. It is creating traffic backups in both directions approaching the bridge from Weaverville and West Asheville. News 13's Ed DiOrio joins us now live. And Ed, you spent the day talking to local drivers. I imagine they are not happy about this familiar inconvenience.
That's right, Tammy, because this is going to be the scene in this bottleneck area that you guys mentioned along the Bowen Bridge. You can see the lanes that are going up towards North Asheville and Woodfin. That's as open as it's been within the last hour, and it's still that slow. And it's been that way throughout the day. We've been traveling this route from South Asheville into Woodfin pretty much throughout the whole day, and it's all been slow. So that means that local commuters, they're going to have to find those detour routes around town once again.
It was absolutely a nightmare.
Pamela Danner manages the hot spot in North Asheville right off I-26.
Terrible, absolutely terrible. Couldn't go to Asheville without sitting in the traffic on the interstate for hours.
That's how she describes what traffic backup was like on both east and westbound lanes while I-40 was shut down from September to March.
An extra 30 minutes just because we were bumper to bumper a lot of the way.
Randy Harrison took the alternate way to Tennessee often during that time.
We had to take the alternate route to our grandchildren in Franklin, Tennessee.
That then caused everyday commuters to congest other roads like Merriman Avenue.
You just learned to take arterial streets, the surface streets, during the daytime.
Then I-40 partially reopened in March.
Oh, it was a relief.
Traffic was flowing nicely again. That was until Wednesday.
We didn't know what was going on, and then the backup extended all the way until we got to exit 21.
A Rockslide closed both sides of I-40.
Oh, please no, not again.
Asheville traffic is right back where it was before.
It's happened again, another wipeout, and we're bracing for more fun and games.
And this time, the time of year could play a factor.
This time it's going to probably be more because of the fact that people are trying to return to their travel destinations for vacation and so forth.
So whether it's 26 or another road,
I always took back roads, so I'm going to have to probably go back to back roads.
We're going to avoid 26 and go Merriman.
you may want to start giving yourself some extra time wherever you're headed.
Everybody just needs to be calm and not be angry about it. It's just something that's happened, and we're going to all have to deal with it and just make the best of it.
When it came to our travels today from Brevard Road up to the Woodfin exits and that stretch coming up and back, it took somewhere between 20 to 40 minutes of added time. Live in Asheville, Ed DiOrio, News 13.
And this week's slide comes on the heels of the many that were triggered by Helene.
Meteorologist Julia Haley looks at how the geology of the mountains likely means more.
With the I-40 rock slide and flooding in full focus, the big question now is, will this happen again? According to the North Carolina Geological Survey, much of western North Carolina is in a landslide hazard zone. Along I-40 where the event occurred, the area is defined as a high hazard zone as seen in red. Let's dive into some of the factors that could impact our chances for landslides. Soils around that area are majority silt loam. Cornell University says these have a soil infiltration rate of less than a ½ inch per hour. Pair that with the heavy pockets of rain, steep slopes in the mountains, and minimal vegetation along these steep slopes, and you get runoff that can lead to flooding, like what we saw near I-40, which can loosen up rocks and soil. So the short answer, yes, this can happen again and is typical for the mountains. You can stay prepared by watching for signs of flooding and listening to emergency alerts.